So what we really started doing was going into more the incrementality testing route. Our ultimate goal was, all right, let's look at something that's a marketing mix model plus some incrementality testing. Really, let's, take this up. But incrementality testing was the one that was easiest to get off the ground very quickly, especially when we were trying to dramatically change our budgets. The marketing mix model would have required us to have not necessarily stasis for a while, but a relatively consistent level of spend that we could base some of the assumptions off of. Whereas incrementality testing, we could just jump in immediately and go from there.
This is an important point. We'll unpack this a little bit. I think the folks on the call might want to kind of catch on to that, which is what marketing mix is good at. It's kind of a stable baseline. If you've been doing TV for a while, print for a while, and then you want to get a sort of a read, it gives you a good average read given the experience of having run print in market for 24 months and TV in market for 18 months, right? You get a good average read, but it's not as good at like picking up what happened this month and I ran a new program, I scaled the program this month, what happened? Incrementality testing is a better tool for that. But it's not possible to test all the time for all channels. So you need a combination of both so you can actually address advanced attribution for operational needs for your brand. Okay, so it's an important point you made. We'll unpack this as we go. Any other thoughts or anything else people want to add to this conversation? Deepak, you're a CDP, right? You guys are a CDP, am I right? Or am I?
That's right, yeah.
Okay.
No, you're right.
We get to see a lot of first-party data for customers, and I'm going to walk you through how the funnel looks like with respect to new customer acquisition with existing customer retention marketing, and we'll talk about those things. But any angles here that are relevant to you that you want to offer up?
No, I'm actually quite curious about how we can actually do exactly what you showed with respect to the channels that we get, because we often see brands. The idea is brands get to connect their channels, right? Their Facebook, Google, and TikTok. And also we have email and SMS channels from our marketing automation platform. So it'd be interesting to see how we can apply this incrementality concept to these channels. There's a little part of it that's not completely intuitive to me yet, but I think one more glance at the numbers and I'll probably get it.
So I think I have somebody on call. Her name is Cara Mannion. She's probably the world's premier expert on customer experimentation or customer testing, right? So how do you take this CDP house files that you have, and how do you test your house file for incrementality for your catalog program, for your Facebook program, for your email program? What's the right way to segment it? What's the right way to test it? How long do you have to run the test and whatnot? And so she'll be actually presenting one of the modules, not today, but in a future session. And you'll want to hang on to her. She has got a lot to offer in terms of expertise for you. Jamarius, on the agency side, any experiences you may want to offer up that's relevant for the group here?
Yeah. We once had a client that we did some pretty neat stuff for around this kind of attribution where you talked earlier about the S-curve, looking for exactly like where are diminishing returns, the ROAS curve is how we refer to it. And we did something neat once, and not to get too in the weeds, but with like Bayesian statistics. So instead of using this Bayesian model, we were kind of able to say like, okay, we see that over time, this is kind of where your attribute, where like it falls and things like that. We were able to say like, okay, you're spending this much money and you could be spending this much more money. And so we were able to say like, all right, if you have $1 million, here's how you can like optimally spend it. Yep. And then those kind of became the experiments that we were talking about earlier, where it's like, okay, we thought, and it turned out we were very right about this, very wrong about that. And then there was seasonality and other stuff. So it was pretty neat, but it took a long time to get off the ground because previously they had kind of a set and forget it sort of approach to their modeling. So there was no shocks to the system for that model to actually come in and say, oh, there's something different here. It just looked like the same as it was. So it took more time convincing them to like mix it up. And then we could finally like actually deploy that situation. But it was pretty neat and I really enjoyed that project.
Fantastic. So there's actually a gentleman who's coming next class. His name is Dr. Payman Sadeh, one of the premier media mix modeling scientists on the planet. He used to run he was the chief scientist at Nielsen, at Visual IQ Nielsen. He's probably done 1,000 media mix, maybe like, I don't know how many thousands he's done, media mix models in life. You can use that what you just said is essentially a medium mix approach for diminishing return estimation. And you can build a model and simulate it for higher spends, and you can kind of let the model tell you what diminishing returns it's picking up as part of its its understanding. That's neat because you don't have to go test. You actually can just simulate a model and get an answer, right? So it's neat in many ways, and you can get the answer from multiple channels at the same time or not. You should ask him the question. He'll have probably pretty neat answers about that. Another way to do it is through testing, okay, which is actually you can simulate higher levels of spend, where you can actually go and say, take 5 markets, 5 DMAs. And in those 5 DMAs, you can double the spend on TV, triple the spend on Facebook, and see how the markets respond and kind of calculate the diminishing return, which is also part of the class. We'll talk about that. And those are 2 approaches, and both valid and both valuable in their own ways. And we'll talk about that. Can we have some of the world's experts offering up these experiences? So take advantage of